Good evening, welcome to Have I Got News For You? I'm Steph McGovern. In the news this week, after yet another woman comes forward to claim past illicit relationships with the PM, Boris Johnson realises he may have to buy Carrie a bigger ring. In the Midlands, government food technicians are hoping that by introducing it in small amounts, they can disguise the taste of chlorinated chicken. And in Camden, CCTV footage reveals the culprit after faecal matter is left on Keir Starmer's desk. On Paul's team tonight is an actor and comedian who lives in Wales and is therefore the only panellist tonight who's currently on the run from the police. Please welcome Miles Jupp. And with Ian tonight, a Conservative peer who told the Daily Mail her weight loss is down to portion control, a policy the government have now set out for England's poorest children. Please welcome Baroness Varsi. So we will begin with the bigger news stories of the week. Ian and Saida, have a look at this.
There he is, banging the drum, still. Somewhat reluctantly. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it works. And there's Keir Starmer basically saying, I'm going to need more than a stiff drink to get through this.
Yeah, this is the astounding news that a former leader has been thrown out of the party.
Within 9 months of him being Labour leader. So, but, you know, it's been a long time coming, and I think it's right that finally Labour can put this terrible time behind them and start to rebuild their relationship with the British Jewish communities, because it really has been a really difficult and devastating time, really, for community relations.
Is that sincere?
It's really sincere.
I'm
Why
sorry,
not?
it was just the sheer pleasure in a Tory's voice to see the Labour Party pulling themselves to bits.
Of course, every time the Labour Party destroys itself, there's going to be a bit of from the Conservatives, but this is a really serious issue. And on
I know, but I like
think
the
we're all united.
Jeremy Corbyn has been put on gardening leave, which he'll no doubt love, I'm sure, won't he? How did he find out he was being kicked out of the party?
Oh, the photographer.
Yeah, according to The Guardian's Jessica Elgott, Corbyn found out about his suspension from a photographer, not from the party.
Proving that they have now got communication under control.
I know, but has anyone got communication? Because we've been finding out about all the government stuff from Twitter.
You know, the thing is, the government can't have an effective communication strategy if they haven't got effective policies. So there's nothing to communicate about right now, is there? Keep the head down, pretend they're not the government, pretend they don't have to talk about it, and it might just all go away, a bit like Marcus Rashford.
Oh. How did the chair of the report, Caroline Waters, characterise Labour's approach to the issue?
Well, it said that the Labour Party had been essentially found guilty of unlawful acts, which in your party is fine, because they don't mind breaking the law.
Are you trying to goad me into defending them?
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to get any sort of defence. No, I mean, this is the Equality and Human Rights Commission, who was set up by Labour, and Labour have ended up being referred to them and found guilty of anti-Semitism. And Keir Starmer has taken this report with both hands and decided now's the time to stop this surge of Corbynism. Sorry, of anti-Semitism.
Yeah, so Caroline Waters, she said there was a lack of willingness to tackle anti-Semitism rather than an inability to do so. Now, Ian.
Yes?
No matter how strongly you think about all of this, you're not allowed to tweet anymore, are you?
No, everyone's got to behave now.
Yeah.
And be impartial.
Can you do it?
No.
Yes, so BBC staff can no longer vent their political frustrations on Twitter, as according to Tim Davie, this will now be a sackable offence.
I don't count. I'm not an employee. I'm freelance.
No, essentially, Ian's the bloke on this programme who locks up at night. So, he's got the keys, he locks up at night, and that's it.
The caretaker.
The caretaker.
This is true.
Yeah.
I always find caretakers quite creepy, so that kind of fits, doesn't it?
What was school like? Do you want to talk about it? Shall we have a therapy session?
Well, our caretaker gladly encouraged us to smoke in the loo, which was quite funny. But we were sponsored, our school, by British American Tobacco.
Is that true?
Yeah, it was, yeah. I haven't just made that up for comedy value.
Were you in the US? This is in
No,
this is in Middlesbrough.
This is in Middlesbrough. Yeah.
God, it was all happening in Middlesbrough,
Yes,
wasn't
well,
it?
this was a Tory initiative, so this was a city technology.
Check.
I didn't know schools could be sponsored like that. I thought.
Yeah.
Oh no! I'm thinking actually, my school we were sponsored by a pate factory. Yeah.
Tell me more.
Mainly chicken livers. I can't go into the details, obviously. I don't want you to think I'm in the employ of Big Pate.
What was Keir Starmer's embarrassing news this week?
He had a crash with a cyclist.
He thought it was Jeremy Corbyn, didn't he? Getting in early.
Yeah, this week the Labour leader was driving his car when he was involved in a collision with a Deliveroo driver.
Was this a driver or a cyclist? Was it
Cyclist.
cyclist?
Yeah,
Yes.
a Deliveroo cyclist.
Right.
Yeah.
The clue is the cycle only has 2 wheels. And it's more outdoors than a car.
One busybody, I should have said eyewitness, told the Daily Mail that it looked like Starmer might not have seen the cyclist as he had been attempting to perform a U-turn in order to make a right turn. But as usual, momentum got in the way.
It's not particularly a story that damns him that apparently he didn't see the cyclist.
No.
If he had have seen the cyclist, I think it'd be more of a story.
What happened to Rishi Sunak?
He got a new job as a Deliveroo cyclist. How's it going?
He did this campaign, didn't he? He had this really kind of slick video and then everybody had a go at him. So the Labour Party put out this kind of attack ad on him in which they said he's got a really big house and he's got loads of money and he's done incredibly well and isn't he a bad person? And I was watching it thinking every Asian parent up and down this country is watching that and saying, you better be like Rishi Sunak when you grow up. I don't know why they think this is an attack ad. It's like careers advice for every Asian kid. I just remember thinking this is a really great...
How did the local Labour Party in Conwy settle who was going to take a top council role after there was a tie this week?
Paper, scissors, stone.
Yes.
Sumo wrestling.
Apparently, a vote on the party's next council committee chair ended in a tie, so they used a bingo machine to pick a winner. If you're wondering what a Labour Party bingo machine is, by the way, it's the same as a normal one, except no one gets number 10.
That was good.
That's the first loyal bit of applause I've seen.
We're on the same team. We're on the
No,
same
we're
team
not.
tonight. We are tonight.
This is the news that Jeremy Corbyn has been suspended from the Labour Party. Also this week, Keir Starmer was involved in a road collision with a cyclist. The delivery driver was taken to
He's
hospital.
driver again, is he?
Oh, yeah. I'll say respectfully.
This programme doesn't know the difference between a cyclist and a driver. I know so far it's been the highlight of the show, but nevertheless.
The delivery cyclist was taken to hospital where it was discovered he'd broken 2 ribs, 3 pork chops and a lasagna. Thinking he might have killed the driver...
Cyclist! Was he driving a penny farthing Vauxhall?
Thinking he might have killed the cyclist, Keir Starmer's whole career flashed before his eyes in the most boring 3 seconds in political history. Paul and Miles, take a look at this.
Yes. There's Donald Trump chucking out masks. This is Joe Biden.
Which one's the pumpkin?
Yeah, exactly. He's there. That's George Bush there. Most of the Democrats have already voted. Most Republicans haven't voted yet. They're going to vote on the day. So if there's a huge surge for Trump on the day, he might say, yeah, I've won. And then that's all going to kick off.
Yeah, it's all going to kick off is a good summary, I think, isn't it? What did Joe Biden forget this week?
Is it a cast list of Mutiny on the Bounty?
He forgot the name of Donald Trump.
Yeah, should we have a look?
And the character of the country, in my view, is literally on the ballot. What kind of country we're going to be? 4 more years of George, is going to find ourselves in a position where, if Trump gets elected, we're going to be in a different world.
He was being interviewed by somebody called George.
Yeah.
And he did once run against George Washington, didn't he?
He did.
Then Trump immediately capped that by going to a rally and saying, we're going to beat this vaccine.
What did Trump manage to do in Florida this week?
Is that where he's throwing out those masks?
He voted.
Oh, yes.
telling reporters that he voted for a guy called Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Trump's family have voted as well.
Oh, you can read what it says on there. Biden.
He also looks as if he's been stuffed with formaldehyde or something. It's sort of very it looks like a waxwork of himself. Weird.
Also, look how he's holding the envelope. Isn't that really weird? Looks like he's never held anything in his life.
What, like a proper job?
It's an Illuminati signal. I was bluffing there, to be honest. I wouldn't recognise an Illuminati signal.
You say that.
It's not. No, it's not my cult.
What is it?
I'm not in a cult. I don't have a cult. Why do I have a cult?
Because you look like someone who might be in a cult.
You look like you might do a bit of caretaking in your spare time. That's what I suspected of you.
Yes, Stephanie's got it in for everyone tonight. I'm
Oh,
a
no, I'm
caretaker,
being-
you're a cult.
BBC One, Ian. I think we'll have less of that language.
One. Sorry, this isn't Channel 4, you know. Oh, I do apologise. That's who you work for now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah.
How's that going?
It's all right, no
Yeah,
one
it's been
knows.
all right, thanks.
Our little secret.
See, creepy caretaker. What conspiracy theory involving Melania Trump has resurfaced this week?
There are many Melanias.
Yeah.
An army of them.
Yeah, that she has a body double who stands in for her at official events. The bizarre theory was doing the rounds on social media again.
It's not just official events, it's anything she doesn't want to do.
Which is everything. Users commented on a photo of the First Lady smiling on board Marine One. Let's have a look.
Yeah, it's a giveaway, isn't it? She's smiling, it's not her.
Shall we have a game?
Yes.
He is the real Melania.
Yes.
But what about these?
That's Tom Cruise.
Shows you what Scientology can do for you, doesn't it?
The next one.
That's not... Well, that's the leader of North Korea, isn't it?
What's Trump been throwing at people in his latest campaign video?
Bullshit.
It's MAGA hats. Let's have a look.
MAGA hats, yes.
Yeah.
Everybody say M-A-G-A. Black, white, and brown. From every city and town. We don't let haters keep us down. Everybody say M-A-G-A.
Come on, man.
Let them hear our voice. All you girls and boys. Stand up and make some.
That's not a real advert, isn't it? That's not a real campaign advert, is it?
Yeah, this is a real campaign ad from Trump. He has been throwing hats out again.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's great at a big rally. He just throws it and says, catch this.
What would you have in a hat, Ian?
Assistant caretaker.
Yeah. I've been demoted, have I? I'm not even...
Paul, if the worst happens and
Yes.
he loses next week, don't worry, there is somewhere you can still go to pay your respects to him. It's
Yep.
Trump's house in Pennsylvania. Let's have a look.
I think it's awesome. I'm honored. I'm actually honored.
This house is amazing. We had to see it. You know, we drove 70 miles twice.
What is wrong with everyone?
There can't be much to do in the States if visiting a house with a cardboard cutout is awesome.
Worth driving 70 miles for twice.
Yeah.
Twice.
I mean, we'd call it 140, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
They've got a kind of different slant on things.
This is the end of the 59th American presidential election campaign and the start of their second civil war. Nigel Farage joined Donald Trump on the campaign trail. At the rally, Farage called Trump the single most resilient and brave person I've met in my life. Watching the event at home, Joe Biden exclaimed, "Who the hell's that?" as he spotted his reflection in the TV screen. And so to round two, the picture spin quiz. Fingers on buzzers, team!
Yes.
Man of the moment, Marcus Rashford.
Yeah.
Who has the whole nation covered themselves in glory, whilst unfortunately the government has covered themselves in crap.
So basically,
This week.
it's
You haven't changed parties, have you, without telling us?
I just don't believe you should starve kids, and I've grown a conscience.
Oh, what sort of Tory are you? I like the defence by the government, which said he's just playing politics. Which is always the last resort of the politician who's noticed that someone's playing it better than they are.
Yeah.
Of course he's playing politics. That's how you get things to change. It's politics. And you wouldn't believe how useless your government, who I know you don't like very much... sorry, I'm trying to be fair and impartial. How useless they are. They haven't spotted that this is probably not an issue to go with.
And also, in light of the fact that meals in the House of Commons are subsidised, and so all these MPs who are standing up and saying, how dare we subsidise and feed starving kids, are not prepared to kind of follow the same rules themselves. It's just awful. And I just think there's no way in these incredibly difficult times we can just justify this position. And the government's wrong on it, and the best thing it could do is just stand up and say we got it wrong.
Yeah. Are they good at that?
And then they've picked a fight with a guy who's not just running an amazing campaign but scored a hat-trick this week. I mean, they're on a loser, aren't they? This guy's on a high and he's going to keep winning. And they're just going to have to change their mind.
Because the government said they'd rather link the free school meals to education and kids' clubs. And one Conservative MP, Ben Bradley, got dragged into a row for suggesting that in his constituency a food voucher might end up in a crack den or a brothel. But to be honest, I don't remember anyone paying me with a food voucher when I worked in a brothel. There we are. But, I mean, that is...
Hang on a minute. You can't just move on from there. Ian, were you the man that used to lock up at night?
No, when did you work in a brothel?
Just before I joined the BBC, actually.
Right.
Well, hopefully it wasn't after you joined the BBC.
What did you do?
What did I do?
Yeah.
Do you want my price list?
Any concessions for coach parties?
What the hell have I said?
Yeah.
Ben Bradley, though, what a twat for saying that. Because, it's just making this terrible assumption that parents are not caring about their kids, because they're struggling.
And I think as an MP, he's just trying to... He sees it through his own eyes. So if he was given a voucher, he would probably spend it on crack and prostitutes. I think he's doing his best to empathise.
Yes.
I think it's quite tough to judge him.
What does Danny Dyer think the problem is?
He thinks that there aren't enough working-class people running the country and the Etonians need to get their hands off power.
Yeah, let's have a look.
My one rant would be that we must learn now that the people who went to Eton can't run this country. OK, they've done it, they've tried to do it, and this little small group who all went to the same school in the same class, it doesn't work.
You can still be, you can go to Eton and still have, hopefully, some compassion. I don't think it's all about going to a certain school.
Well, Henry Dimbleby, who came up with the original extension of the food bank plan, is an old Etonian. And Marcus Rashford said that his plan was very good and it should be...
Yeah.
I'm not obviously trying to make a defence of people who are privately educated, for God's sake. That would be shocking.
Yeah.
On the flip side, should there be more parts for posh people in EastEnders?
Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm happy to audition. Yeah. Doesn't have to be a straight offer. I just want to be in the room.
Go on, let's have your audition then now. If you were
It
auditioning...
could be called Westenders.
We're looking for a new pub landlord.
Hello. Yep. Hi guys, come in. Let me tell you about the philosophy of this place. Have you been here before? No. The specials are on the board. Do you have any allergies? Do you need me to explain sharers and sliders? All our stuff comes in baskets because we're arseholes.
I want to come.
Hey,
You have to be able to say, get out of my pub, though. How would you say that?
Ronald, could you tell the scary people to get out of the pub?
Who brings their own packed lunch to the House of Commons?
Is it the Monmouth MP David T.C. Davies?
No. It is Selene Saxby, Tory MP, who says she never gets a free lunch. She also said this about the restaurants that are providing free school meals. I'm delighted our local businesses have bounced back so much after lockdown that they are able to give away food for free, and very much hope they will not be seeking any further government support.
They really need to go on some compassion training, some of my colleagues.
So it's like the business owners have got values and the Tory MPs haven't.
I'm just zipping it now.
Hey, is it true that the House of Lords bar's still selling alcohol?
I don't know, I don't drink.
Strictly entre nous. Does the Prime Minister have a drink problem? Just
Like between us.
between us. Yeah.
I just don't know him well enough.
In a way, that's an answer.
Yeah. Has he got a crack problem?
Well, now that you ask about crack, I can talk about that.
What happened to Gary Sambrook, another Conservative MP who voted not to continue free school meals in half-term?
Some MPs got dinner plates left on the lawn.
Yeah, that's what happened to Selene Saxby, actually. She got the plates outside. For Gary, people wrote rude things about him on a wall. Gary Sambrook eats big dinners.
If only Twitter were so innocent.
Do you want to hear an interesting story about Gary Sambrook?
Yeah.
Go on.
Is this something to do with your previous job?
Yeah, I wouldn't let him in. He only wanted to pay him vouchers. According to the Times, his car needed the oil changing, but Gary didn't realise this, and he rang his uncle to ask what the flashing gravy boat was on the dashboard of his car. So everyone's being rude to Conservative MPs. Did you see what Sky News' Kay Burley said to Kit Mulhouse?
You know, it's always a struggle, these things, to stay fit, particularly given my lifestyle, but I'm a gym member. I think I'm still paying my gym membership as it happens.
Some might say you need a refund.
Oh, well, I've got to work it.
According to the COVID police, what is not a proper meal?
It's if you have a pie on its own, but if you have a pie with a salad, as you would do in a very posh EastEnders pub, then yes, that's a substantial meal, which means the pub can stay open.
I have pie, salad and chips.
Oh, do you? Oh,
Yeah,
right, okay.
and garlic sauce. And peas.
Are you a member of a gym? I didn't mean that, sorry.
What a bitch! No, so there is a load of confusion, right, nationwide, and particularly in Manchester, over what a pub can serve as food in order to allow it to stay open. The Common Bar in Manchester was trying to sell its pizza slices as a substantial meal. Here is one of them. It's 11 inches long. That's big, isn't it, Ian?
What, and you call me creepy?
Police told them that the 22-inch pizza, which is where the slice came from, is OK, but a single slice is not sufficient, even with a radius of 11 inches. What's the one success story for the government this week?
Is it the brothel vouchers?
They've been extended throughout half-term.
They've handed out brothel vouchers, but some people have been using them to buy pasties.
Liz Truss has just pulled off...
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
She's just pulled off what? She's done what? This show's gone rapidly downhill. Yeah. This is heavy Channel 4 influence.
It's the Japan deal.
Yes, it is, yeah. Liz Truss has just pulled off a big trade deal with Japan, which has surprised a lot of people because she's traditionally been more interested in other parts of the Far East.
In December, I'll be in Beijing, opening up new pork markets.
What have Tesco in Wales been doing to upset people?
They were sort of covering over huge areas of the shops that they deemed non-essential items.
It was books,
Yep.
not essential, obviously, and sanitary towels. I mean, obviously not essential for men.
It's so ridiculous, it almost sounds like it's not deliberate, as if they've said very quick, there's some stuff we've got to do and we need to do it now. And they've got, what did he say? He said we've got to put sheets over it. But what did he say we had to put sheets over? I didn't hear that bit.
So you're only allowed to shop for essential items, and Tesco have been taping off non-essential items to stop people buying them. Quick question then, what's an essential item in Wales? Jack Daniels or a light bulb?
The Jack Daniels.
Correct.
Because you only need the light bulb for 12 hours a day.
Now, as we know, Marcus Rashford is obviously quite impressive, but he's not the only sportsman in the news this week. Now, who would you say is more talented, a man who bounces ping-pong balls off a wall into his mouth, or a man with no arms playing snooker?
I would imagine the man with no arms playing snooker would be... I'm not quite sure which part of the anatomy he's using at the moment, but I suppose he gets through a lot of chalk. I mean, what is he...
Let's have a look. Right, let's have a look at Ping Pong Man.
Go.
Something to do on your honeymoon, isn't it?
Which one was the real Melania?
Which one is the most impressive then?
The guy playing snooker, because the ping pong ball guy basically has to do the same thing, repeatedly.
People in Bangkok offering a similar sort of ping pong experience, I gather.
Settle in, everyone. 45 minutes of Ian's gap year anecdotes.
No, to be fair, he was paid a fortune. That's how he bought his first car, wasn't it?
This is the ongoing row over free school meals. After criticism over the school meals fiasco, the government has proposed a scheme to make sure that no children go hungry at Christmas. They're cancelling Christmas. Fingers on buzzers, teams.
Is this a story about the smart tablecloth?
Yeah, how do you think a tablecloth can help you in lockdown?
Is it a tablecloth that can tell how much you've eaten?
Is this you going on about me being fat again?
Is it a tablecloth that listens to your conversation, so it knows stuff that you might forget, and you might be sort of laying the table, and the tablecloth will suddenly say, don't put Jonathan and Karen next to each other, they do not get on anymore.
Researchers in the US and China have teamed up to create a smart tablecloth which can detect items on the table. So what's the point of that?
Probably measuring how many plates there, what's the weight of the plates, how much food is on the plates, how many people are sitting at the table, and all that sort of stuff.
Things you couldn't possibly do if you were laying the table. Oh, I wonder how many plates I've put down. Better wait for the cloth to tell me. Have I poured out water for everyone? I've no idea.
Well, if you asked me to have two words to describe Ian, camp sarcasm would not be the two words.
No, it suggests recipes. So if you put things on it, so if you put on, I don't know, rice and whatever else, it'll tell you what you
But
can
it's
make.
too late, because that's a tablecloth and you're about to eat it.
When you get your shopping, you put your bag on the table when you come back from the supermarket.
The tablecloth says, what the fuck have you bought that for?
Why is it a sweary tablecloth?
OK, it could be camply sarcastic.
Yeah.
Oh, where'd you get those eggs? At the local farm shop?
I think I prefer that.
Shall we have a look at it in action?
Oh, wait, let's have a look at it in action.
I mean, if this is the level that we're going to have to start operating at going forward, if that's what we need
What are we going to have? Smart bed sheet. You lie down, it says, go to sleep. In case you didn't know what you were meant to do.
Your next client is ready.
I'll tell you how they could use that is if you go to the supermarket and you do that check-in thing, self-checkout, and it could say to you and say, oh, you've got avocados and you've got, whatever, and you've got onions. You now need X to make so-and-so recipe, so you can just nip back and get the extra ingredients.
But it'd not be useful for the other shoppers. If you're queuing to find something, good, that's their last item, and suddenly the machine says, oh, do you know what, you're one onion away from a proper ragu there. Just wait there, I'm just going to get the back. You'd be demented.
Oh, you've forgotten the strawberries.
According to the boffins behind the tablecloth, other gadgets could include an electric toothbrush, which could arrange dental appointments.
You've got toothache. Oh, have I had no idea? Thank goodness you told me. I wondered what it was. Thank you, toothbrush.
There's a...
You're welcome.
And finally, have you seen how Joan and Jimmy O'Shaughnessy from Southport and Merseyside have been keeping themselves fit in lockdown? Let's have a look.
Everywhere's a dance floor around at the O'Shaughnessy's, and the recording process can test the patience of the other members of the family.
It's very frustrating. It's just constant for a 4-hour period. But, you know, they're making people smile, so at the end of the day, you've got to leave them to it.
Also, why have they painted the words ITV News on their French doors?
Time now for Odd One Out. There's one between you this week. They are the Queen, Barack Obama, Santa Claus and Vladimir Putin. Yeah.
3 of them are former KGB?
No.
They're all going to spend Christmas on their own.
I'll give you a clue. How many Santa Clauses do you see in any given year?
Well, there's only one. That's the real one.
So?
So, there's only one real Santa Claus, so he's the odd one out.
Whereas
The others have all got doubles.
body doubles.
Yeah, you're nearly right. They've all had stand-ins apart from Putin, who doesn't need one because he never takes a day off. A new documentary about Vladimir Putin revealed that he's a workaholic. The Kremlin spokesperson, Dmitry Peskov, told the Russian news agency, for most normal people, Monday's a tough day, and then finally, thank God it's Friday. Putin's schedule is nothing like this. What has Putin had installed at work recently?
Is it a polonium dispenser?
No.
No.
A gym.
God, you're obsessed, aren't you, with gyms? People. According to the Times, Putin's so concerned about coronavirus that he's had a disinfectant tunnel installed outside his office, which sprays people before they come in.
Is that what he's telling them?
So who has been standing in for the Queen, then, if we're talking about stand-ins?
Melania.
Is it somebody that we would know?
It's Charles.
I thought it was William and Kate that have been standing in for.
No. It was revealed that the Queen has a stand-in who takes her place at rehearsals for big royal events. Her name is Miss Ella Slack. For the last 30 years, Ella has stood in for the Queen when she's too busy, such as at rehearsals for the opening of Parliament, and recently Christmas with Andrew. What is Ella never allowed to do while she's standing in for the Queen?
Rule the country.
Talk smut.
Is it prorogue Parliament?
No, she's not allowed to take on any royal protocols, although Ella revealed, if I'm in a carriage, I will wave. I've never been allowed to sit on the throne. I have to lurk around it, added Prince Charles. So we all remember Prince Andrew's straightforward shooting weekend. Who does that remind you of this week? Who else has been having some fun while the rest of us all...
Oh, the Kardashians.
The Kardashians.
So she got all her friends to quarantine for 2 weeks and then took them all off to a private island for her 40th birthday.
Exactly. Kim defended the event, saying it had been nothing more than a humble island party. Who hired this remarkable stand-in of Barack Obama?
Was it Trump?
Yeah.
So he could be rude to him.
In his new book, Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, revealed that Trump hated Obama so much that he once hired the stand-in so he could belittle him and then fire him. Why does Santa need a stand-in this year?
He's an elderly man with underlying conditions.
Yeah.
Slightly overweight. No offence.
I'm not saying anything.
None taken, thank you. So he's got to stay indoors. So that's it. There's no Santa this year.
It's not that. It's just there's a shortage
Department store Santas.
because regular older Santas are staying at home this year due to COVID,
Oh, yeah.
which is leading to a surge of men in their 30s standing in. Miles?
I'll do that. Well, I'm in my 40s. Let's make.
Yeah, but you're not old, are you? I mean, do you want to audition?
I've done Santa the last couple of years actually at local events. By which I mean I've put on the Santa costume.
Thank God you clarified that.
Yeah. Ho ho ho! And welcome to Debenhams.
That's brilliant.
Please help yourself to anything you like. Careful on the escalators. Don't go to those bastards in Phoenix. They overcharge for everything. Their returns policy continues to be a disgrace.
I mean, you've got the spirit of him.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've all had stand-ins, apart from Putin, who doesn't need one, as he never takes a day off. The claim that Putin has never had a body double was made in the unusually probing Russian TV show 20 Questions with Vladimir Putin. I'm not sure what all the questions might have been, but the last two were, why is my teacup glowing? Why is the room starting to spin? It's time now for the Missing Words round, which this week features as its guest publication, LAMP, the Journal of the Association of Lighthouse Keepers.
Is that an acronym, LAMP? Does that stand for something? Lighthouses are mainly perpendicular?
Does now.
And we start with hour-long BBC interview on what, unfortunately, what?
Lighthouses, unfortunately shown.
The hour-long BBC interview on impartiality unfortunately included some of them bastards from the Liberal Democrats.
Hour-long BBC interview on how lighthouse keepers pass the time, unfortunately ends up being cut down to just a few minutes. This is from an article written by a recently retired lighthouse keeper who begins, as I write this, I am in lockdown. Oh, blimey, out the frying pan, eh? Next, William and Kate looking to hire what, but they need to be good at what?
Oh, so this is William and Kate looking for a new housekeeper, but they need it to be somebody who can be good at keeping their mouth shut.
Yeah, William and Kate looking to hire a new housekeeper, but they need to be good at exercising discretion. It's a funny name for a dog, isn't it? Yes, Wills and Kate are looking for a new housekeeper who mustn't be a gossip. And despite wearing a lovely dress to the interview, a disappointed Nicholas Witchell is very quickly Next, German pensioner who warmed his walnuts on a shelf, what?
Now braises his bollocks on the barbecue. Melts his mangoes in the microwave. Toasts his testicles in a test-controlled tent.
That's terrible.
Well, I know how he felt.
Gets Splinter. Gets asked to leave.
Seeks similar.
German pensioner who warmed his walnuts on a shelf starts huge fire. Next, family install what to help with COVID-safe trick or treating?
2 metre thick letterbox.
Ground-to-air missile system.
Lighthouse keeper.
Poster of Boris on the door.
Family install catapult to help with COVID-safe trick-or-treating. The candy firing catapult was designed by a family in Pennsylvania. Here it is in action.
Ready, aim, trick or treat.
We thought we could try and come up with a creative way to throw candy at kids.
Well, why can't you just throw it? I remember seeing once years ago, this man who came up with this, what he thought was a great invention, which was a running machine, which, you know, with one of those conveyor belt things, which actually sort of was on wheels. So as you ran along on it, you could go down the road. And he thought this was a great thing. But, of course, it's much easier just to run down the road.
And finally, Cat always what whenever a U2 song plays?
hurls itself into a bonfire.
Yeah.
Immediately goes and finds something the owner's looking for.
Is it on edge?
Can't wait to hear your Larry Mullen Jr. pun.
Cat always sticks out tongue whenever a U2 song plays.
That's a headline in a newspaper.
Yeah. This is Jesse, the 9-year-old Persian who went viral this week thanks to his unusual reaction to U2. Let's have a look.
I'm sorry, that's not a scientific experiment. We haven't seen it listening to something that isn't U2. It's just a cat that sticks its tongue out.
That's the worst cat video I've seen today.
Yeah. And Ian's got a specialist interest, haven't you?
I have.
Jesse's owner rescued him from a shelter and now play U2 to him all day. And the cat lays there thinking, God, I miss that shelter. So the final scores are Paul and Miles on 2, and Ian and Saida have 7. Whoa. But before we go, it's just time for the caption competition.
If sales fall below this point again, I will chop a finger off. Otherwise, welcome to Sports Direct.
Can you find the bastard who superglued my finger to this chart?
Next.
Can you find the bastard who superglued my finger?
Government announced new track and trace system.
On which note, we say thank you to our panellists, Ian Hislop and Baroness Varsi, Paul Merton and Miles Jupp. And I leave you with the news that in New Hampshire, there's evidence that American voters have had enough of this year's election. The Queen repays the nation's debt to Captain Tom Moore by helping him dislodge a Murray mint stuck in the back of his teeth. And on her way to the Brexit Party Halloween do, Anne Widdecombe realises she'll have to turn back as she's forgotten her costume. Good night.